How many snaps did they run in the 14 personnel?
That's only for us.
100% of the snaps.
What's going on, everybody? Welcome into 14P Fantasy. I am your host, Justin Wright. Today, we're talking start or sit for the wide receiver position, part 2, the last one of the year for the wide receivers. We might get another running back video out. Depends on New Year's Eve and everything else going on. But before we get into these 5 wide receivers to touch on, remember, guys, we did launch that Patreon page. So we have rookie rankings, dynasty rankings, all of it tiered. That should help you guys in the offseason. In addition to that, we'll have best ball drafts and live mock drafts and a whole bunch of stuff available for anybody that goes over there and subscribes to our Patreon page. So check that out. The link is in the bio. Also, subscribe to the YouTube channel. Follow us on Twitter. Questions, comments, drop them below. You know the deal. All right, let's get into it. Number 1 on the list, we have Hunter Renfrow. The potentially the most physically gifted wide receiver to ever play football. I mean, that is a man. Look at him. That is a man. But, Hunter Renfrow, he's a wide receiver too. I understand the last 2 weeks have not been what we've become accustomed to this season. Hasn't topped 15 points. But in a must-win game against Indy, which is a middle-of-the-road matchup, I think Hunter Renfrow gets back to his, being the number 1 target on the offense type of play style. Derek Carr is going to lean on him. Indy's going to come at him hard. Indy is going to, I think, take a lead and win this game. So with that being said, that should open up some garbage time potentially, or even just, third down conversions, the typical Hunter Renfrow type things. He is good enough to be a top 20 wide receiver this week, and I'm going to trust him in a championship matchup. The high floor is extremely enticing, and we've seen him elevate that ceiling if he gets the work. So if you have Hunter Renfrow, I am absolutely firing him up. I'm going to play him over Amon-Ra St. Brown with DeAndre Swift now back. So keep that in mind. If you've dropped comments before talking about that, it is now Renfrow over St. Brown for me. Moving on, we have Rusell Gage versus Buffalo. This matchup, like 2 months ago, a whole lot scarier when Tre'Davious White was on the field. He is no longer on the field. If he was active, Rusell Gage would be a non-starter for me, be a sit. But against Buffalo, Rusell Gage has been very solid outside of last week. They are going to have to throw. Buffalo's going to probably beat the crap out of them. It's going to be Pitts and Rusell Gage getting peppered with targets. That is how I see this going. I see another 10 target day for Rusell Gage, and that's been up and down, but I don't see any world where Atlanta really establishes the run, especially against that Buffalo front, which means a lot of passing. There's a world where Matt Ryan throws 40 plus times this week. And if that happens, Rusell Gage should be a main beneficiary. Again, it'll be him and Kyle Pitts. Hopefully Cordero Patterson gets back to being a focal point of the offense as well. But if you have Rusell Gage, he has a deep flex play because of volume, and that is it. Moving on to number 3, we have AJ Green versus Dallas, and he's been a mixed bag, mainly bad without DeAndre Hopkins, though. That's the truth. I get you can look at it and kind of squint and say, man, if he just gets that big play or if he just gets the volume, he's going to pop off. I don't anticipate that. This game, again, I think this game ends up being a shootout, but I think it leans more Christian Kirk, who's going to be lining up in the slot with Jordan Lewis, where AJ Green is most likely going to be taking Trayvon Diggs, and that's not what I want to do if I'm Arizona. I don't want to target a old, washed-up wide receiver against one of the best playmaking corners in the NFL. So I don't expect a huge day from AJ Green. Again, like we said on the last wide receiver video, we're into Christian Kirk as a wide receiver 2 flex play type of guy, but not AJ Green. On to number 4 here, we have Terry McLaurin versus Philly. Taylor Heineke sucks. Taylor Heineke is not good. That experiment is over, and you've seen it in Terry McLaurin's output. It's just been bad. He's really had one 20-point game over the last month, 5 weeks, whatever it is, and every other game has been pretty miserable. He is a flex play on name only. just because he is a big play wide receiver and can make things happen, that is the only reason he is here. He gets Darius Slay, which is not ideal. But again, he's Terry McLaurin, so you're interested in flexing him. Like I want him over Rusell Gage. That's not even close to me. Again, low flex, mid-level flex, whatever you want to call it. Terry McLaurin against Darius Slay with Taylor Heineke. It doesn't look great for him. He's not a must-start by any stretch of the imagination. But if you have a deep roster or even 2 flexes, it's tough to pick somebody else over Terry McLaurin in this when you're going that deep in your lineup. And to close us out, we have KJ Osborn, who I am a huge fan of. If you watch this weekly, you know I am all in on KJ Osborn when he has Kirk Cousins. And now, if you are not aware, Kirk Cousins is on the COVID list, which means Sean Mannion is going to be the quarterback this week. And that is just that's not what I want. I'm not going to trust a backup quarterback who probably shouldn't be in the NFL as a guy to hyper target or even, expect him to move the ball adequately. I'm not going to expect that. And then also utilize a second string wide receiver, really a third string wide receiver who's elevated from injury. There's just too many things working against him. And on top of it all, Green Bay's defense has been phenomenal. I hate admitting it because I'm a Bears fan, but they're phenomenal. So second string quarterback, third string wide receiver, elite defense, everything is looking wrong for KJ Osborn this week. So unfortunately, I think you got to sit him down. As much as I would love to win a championship with him in my lineup, I don't think many people will. All right, guys, that is all we have for you. Again, check out the Patreon page. Head on over to patreon.com/14P Fantasy. Donate, subscribe, and get all of those additional perks. We have some merchandise come out over there eventually, so keep an eye out for all of that. Again, check out the Patreon, subscribe to the YouTube, follow us on Twitter. All right. As always, guys, thanks for watching, and we will see you next time.
How many snaps did they run in the 14 personnel?
That's only for us.
100% of the snaps.